Omid Scobie has released a brand new book focusing on the institution and the firm's fight for survival. It also contains more shock revelations about Meghan and Harry and their explosive allegations about what happened when the Queen died. The book is due to be released at the end of November, but ahead of hitting shelves, an excerpt from it has been published by US-based People magazine, shedding more light on the relationship between Harry and Meghan and the likes of King Charles and Prince William, reports The Mirror. It follows his first book about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's dramatic exit from the royal family, which sent shockwaves through the firm. Harry in the Dark. One of the most shocking revelations in the book claims that Harry was kept in the dark about his late grandmother as Queen Elizabeth's health continued to decline prior to her death on September 8, 2022. The book claims that the Duke of Sussex was not informed about his grandmother's worsening health during the hours before her death. The author adds that Harry and Meghan had no idea the rest of the firm was preparing for the late monarch's death. In an extract from Mr. Scobie's book, which has been shared with People, he writes, "The Sussexes had no idea that Buckingham Palace was already planning for the Queen's final hours and the first days of the monarchy's new era, until the Duke's phone started ringing. An unknown number. He usually ignored those." Meghan also urged her husband to answer the phone. He accepted the call just before it stopped. Omid said, Harry hadn't spoken to his father much that year, but this was not the time for any father and son tension. Charles told him he and Camilla were about to leave Dumfries House for Balmoral, where Princess Anne was already by the Queen's side. He told Harry to make his way to Scotland immediately. Harry forced to beg. Finally, Harry was told of his grandmother's state and managed to catch a flight from LA to Scotland, with the late Queen's death announced just after 6:30 p.m., not long before Harry's plane landed in Aberdeen. And according to the excerpt, Harry's team had to beg Buckingham Palace not to announce the sad news earlier. It reads, his team literally had to beg for them to wait for his plane to land, and they reluctantly agreed to hold the statement back for a little bit, confirmed a close family source. But as stormy weather over Aberdeen International forced Harry's plane to circle the airport numerous times before landing, patience at the Buckingham Palace press office wore thin. They could wait no longer, and the announcement went live at 6:30 p.m. When Harry's plane finally touched tarmac 20 minutes later, he received a text from Meghan urging him to call ASAP, followed by a breaking news alert via the BBC News app with the announcement of the Queen's death. King Charles' betrayal. Another shocking claim that transpired in the book was that Harry was left crushed that he didn't find out about the Queen's death until after it was announced to the world. Apparently, Charles' decision to keep the Duke in the dark was not what his grandmother would have wanted in the end. The excerpt claims that the late monarch would have wanted Harry to know that she had died before everyone else did. When Elizabeth II died on September 8 last year, it was initially reported that Charles personally called Harry to tell him the news about his late grandmother. However, in Harry's tell-all memoir Spare, the Duke contests this and claims he found out about his grandmother's passing after he read about it on the BBC News website once he disembarked a flight to Aberdeen on his way to travelling to Balmoral, where the late Queen died. It adds, Harry was crushed, said a friend of the Duke. His relationship with the Queen was everything to him. She would have wanted him to know before it went out to the world. They could have waited just a little longer. It would have been nothing in the grand scheme of things, but no one respected that at all. Harry's real reason for quitting. Elsewhere in the book, claims are made that Harry was viewed as a threat to the crown and exposed the truth behind the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's departure from the firm. In one excerpt of the book, Mr. Scobie says Harry wanted the ability to think freely. These are probably sad realizations that will be had far too late in the journey. In the eyes of some within the institution, Harry is a threat to the crown. His freedom to exert his own thinking outside of the confines of the institution has made him the enemy, he writes. William's brutal response. The excerpt also divulges into Harry's rocky relationship with his brother Prince William, which is reportedly now at an all-time low. The brothers have now been embroiled in a bitter rift for several years, and it seems there is no end in sight. One of the flashpoints in their feud was the publication of the Californian-based prince's explosive memoir, Spare, in which he claimed that William physically attacked him in a heated row at Kensington Palace, amongst other allegations. In various interviews earlier in 2022, Harry claimed he was keen to receive an apology from his family about how he was treated, especially as he and Meghan raised their concerns about their mental health. However, Mr. Scobie states that absolutely nothing has changed between William and Harry recently. Detailing the brutal one-word response Harry received when leaving royal life, he writes, "I was talking to a source quite early on in the process, and they called Harry a defector and said that was William's view. These were two men who once upon a time were firmly aligned in their outlook. One of them had to move on to also protect the crown." Brainwashing fears. The book also goes on to claim that William doesn't want to know his younger brother, who he believes has been brainwashed an army of therapists. It claims, William believes Harry and Meghan blindsided the family, even the Queen, with their public complaints and their oh-so-California self-importance, an opinion he has repeatedly voiced in various ways to friends and aides during the past 2 years. Convinced Harry's been brainwashed by an army of therapists, William says he no longer even recognizes his own brother, a source said. Endgame will be released at the end of this month, and is described on Amazon as a penetrating investigation into the current state of the British monarchy. The book's description goes on to say, an unpopular king, a power-hungry heir to the throne, a queen willing to go to dangerous lengths to preserve her image, and a prince forced to start a new life after being betrayed by his own family. Endgame, which will be published on November 28, is subtitled Inside the Royal Family and the Monarchy's Fight for Survival. Join the Daily Records WhatsApp community here and get the latest news sent straight to your messages. Publisher HarperCollins previously said the book will have the world talking, and Mr. Scobie said it will reveal moments that royals should be ashamed of. The headings of chapters include, Shaky Ground, The Queen is Dead, The Monarchy Faces Trouble, The Fall of Prince Andrew, Scandal, Shame, and Silencing Jane Doe, Race and the Royals, Institutional Bigotry and Denial, Gloves On, Prince William, Heir to the Throne, and Gloves Off, Prince Harry, Man on a Mission. Newslet here.